can someone be earning 8,000 ringgit a month today feel poorer than our parents who earned 2,000 ringgit 20 years ago? Now, I'm not talking about people with bad spending habit, but people who are doing everything right yet still feel broke. And when I dug into the numbers, the truth shocked me. While official wages went up by 7.9%, the real costs hitting families, food, housing, childcare, insurance, exploded 25 to 40%. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how much buying power you've lost down to the ringgit. And more importantly, the strategies a T20 family or even M40 can use to finally fight back. Hey guys, before we move on, I want to suggest an easier way of getting news. The Coffee Break newsletter summarizes all the necessary news in a 3-minute read into your mailbox every day. So far, we have been sending it out to more than 20,000 subscribers, and more than 50% of them read them daily. If you want to get news in a smarter way, do sign up to the Coffee Break newsletter. Link in description below. Bank Negara love to tell us that wages have grown 7.9% since 2020, and it sounds decent, right? But here's what they don't emphasize. CPI rose by 9.8% within the same period, so we're already on the losing ground. But it actually gets worse. CPI is just an average. Our real-life inflation is actually way higher. While our salary crawled up by 7.9%, here's what actually happened to the stuff that we are buying. Food away from home, it's up by 30% to 40%. Housing costs is up by 25 to 35%. And childcare up by 20 to 30%. Healthcare is up by 10 to 15% annually. Even insurance costs also went up. Say you earn 5,000 ringgit in 2020. With a 7.9% wage increase, you are now earning 5,395 ringgit in 2024. But let's look at our actual expenses. Say in 2020, the monthly budget looked like this. Food and dining out is probably about 800 ringgit. Housing, rent or mortgage about 1,500. Childcare 1,000, healthcare and insurance about 300 ringgit, then transportation 500 ringgit, a total of 4,100 ringgit. But in 2024, the same lifestyle. Food and dining out is now 1,120, a 40% increase. Housing, 2,025 ringgit, a 35% increase. Childcare, 1,300 ringgit a month, a 30% increase. Then healthcare insurance, 345 ringgit, that's 15% increase. Transport, 650 ringgit, that's 30% increase. You are spending 5,440 ringgit. So even if your salary went from 5,000 ringgit to 5,395 ringgit, you got 395 ringgit more, but your expenses went from 4,100 to 5,440. That's 1,340 ringgit more. So the net result, you're 945 ringgit worse off every month. And that's why your 6,000 ringgit salary feels like it's shrinking every month, because compared to what you actually need to buy, it really is shrinking. Now, some of you may think that it's not so exaggerated, but I believe the number is close for most families. Let's start by talking about food here. Do you know that the average price of a nasi lemak went from 3 ringgit and 44 cents to 3 ringgit and 72 cents in just 1 year? That may not sound like much, right? But the truth is, eating out inflation is running more than 4% year on year. Think about it, a family dinner that used to cost about 60 ringgit, today it costs about 100 over ringgit. But setting food aside, there is this whole thing about the new basic, especially in education. Laptops and iPads are needed for schools today, but these weren't expenses that our parents had. So that's an additional of 2,000 to 4,000 ringgit to our annual budget for stuff that did not exist 10 years ago. Then transportation. Remember last time a kanchiu cost about 20,000 ringgit? Today, an Axia with auto is about 30 over 1,000, and if you choose to buy a Myvi, you are talking about 50 over 60,000 ringgit. That's more than 50% jump just for basically the same function. Thank God for the MyPass 50, so you can take public transport at 50 ringgit lah. And let's not forget about housing. If you're a middle income M40 T20, one of the biggest dream in life is actually to own your own house, preferably landed, right? But think about it, houses in Damansara landed that used to sell for 600,000 to 700 500,000 in the year 2000. Now it's about 1.5 to 2 million ringgit, and that doesn't even include renovation and furnishing. You add all those in, that's extra 100 to 300,000 ringgit, and you're looking at a loan of 30 to 35 years that will change your entire family's financial future. If today you are in your 30s or 40s and you need to support your aging parents and your young children simultaneously, things are going to be really difficult for you. Medical inflation runs 10 to 15% annually in Malaysia, and that's not it. Even if you talk about medical insurance, it's becoming more and more expensive. Remember last time you can probably buy an insurance plan at 100 ringgit to 200 ringgit? Today the price is so much more. Some are even paying 500 to 600 ringgit just for a basic medical plan. Since things are so expensive today, for most families, both husband and wife have to go out to work. Although there's an increase of income there, but it also means that daycare is non-negotiable. You're looking at about 1,000 ringgit to 2,000 over ringgit per month for a child. Yes, there is a wide range of choice, the cheaper one and the more expensive one. But even if you look at the lowest budget and you have 2 kids, you're looking at about 2,000 to 5,000 ringgit monthly just for daycare for our children. And not to forget, as your kid grow older, you also need to have education. And today, as a parent, I definitely want to give my kids the best education. Even if you don't send your kids to private school, you just send them to basic sekolah kebangsaan and you send them for tuition, you are still talking about an extra of 500 ringgit a month or up to 1,000 over ringgit a month. Here's the thing, private school fees are extremely expensive. You're talking about 20,000 to 50,000 a year. That extra cost still add up fast. And guess what? The cruel irony is this. For people who are in the M40 families or even lower tier T20 family, you're actually stuck in the middle. You are too rich for subsidy, but not rich enough to afford private everything and comfortable lifestyle. Before we move on, I want to give a big shout out to KL PodFest 2025. For those of you who are podcast lovers, do not miss out this event on the 19th to 21st of September. And guess what? We are giving away 10 free 3 days pass. So what you need to do is just leave a comment down below KL PodFest and we will select 10 lucky winners to receive these 3-day pass tickets. Now back to our video. Let's talk about why this B40, M40, T20 category are actually completely misleading in my opinion. Here's what most people don't understand. These are household income brackets, not individual income. So if one person is earning 5,000 ringgit and live alone, that is considered a B40 household. But if you put 2 people earning 5,000 ringgit each in the same house, suddenly they are earning 10,000 ringgit combined income, and now they are close to being a T20 household. Does that even make sense? 2 people with same individual earning power, but one is labelled as poor and the other one is labelled as upper class just because they live together. And it gets worse when you add kids into the picture. Let's say a couple that's earning 12,000 ringgit combined, but they have no kids versus the same couple with 3 children. It's a completely different financial reality even though they are from the same income bracket, saying that 12,000 ringgit household income. The Khazanah Research Institute, KRI, actually said that these classifications are flawed. Some M40 and lower T20 family can't even maintain a middle class standard despite of being in that income bracket. Because this flawed system doesn't account for dependent, location, and actual disposable income. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Our parents' financial playbook is actually dead. You see, our parents could buy a house for about 150,000 ringgit or 200,000 ringgit, then pay it off in 15 to 20 years, and it would appreciate nicely. But today, you are looking at 1.5 to 2 million ringgit for the same type of house. And why? Because developers are also smart. Instead of charging you the market price of the property currently, they project the future market price and they sell the house to you at that price. So you're not gonna get the kind of appreciation that you expect to get same as your parents' time when they bought a house. Let me be really blunt with you. Spending 50% or more of your household income on a mortgage just to own a house because we have to, it's actually a financial suicide. And here's what I think. If buying a house means that you can't invest, can't save and live paycheck to paycheck, renting might actually be a smarter move. Use that extra money to build an investment portfolio instead. Some of you are going to say, but rent money is money down the drain. So is paying 5,000 ringgit a month for a house when you could rent something similar for 1,500 or 2,000 ringgit. And that means you get to save up or invest 24,000 ringgit extra every year. And in 20 years time, that investment portfolio might be worth more than the house itself. And let's move on to another culture trap that traps many T20 or even M40 family to the extent that it bankrupts them. I call it the best for our kids trap. This obsession with giving our kids the best and a head start in life, it's a big problem. I see parents spending 50,000 a year on private school, 2,000 ringgit a month for enrichment classes and buying the latest gadgets while having zero savings and maxed out credit card. Let me ask you this. What kind of head start are you really giving your kids when you yourself are financially stressed, fighting about money, and let them model after terrible financial behavior? And this is going to cause a lot of debate. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The greatest gift that any parent can give our children is our time and attention, not expensive stuff. And let me tell you something that's even more uncomfortable. Challenges builds character. Making life too easy for your kids might actually backfire on your plan to give them a head start. I know many parents who are so afraid that their kids will struggle that they remove every obstacle, pay for everything, solve every problem. And you know what? Those kids become adults who can't handle adversity, can't solve problems, and expect everything to be handed to them. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't give the best to your kids. I'm saying that you need to find the balance. Give your kids opportunity, but don't go broke doing it. Teach them the value of money, not by spending it carelessly, but show them what financial responsibility look like by practicing it yourself. You see, while we cannot solve all the categorization issue like what is a T20 or M40 or what is considered good or not good or income level and stuff like that, but there's one thing we can do. We need to redefine success and aspiration today. We need to have an honest conversation about lifestyle and what success really means to us this day and age. Our parents' generation could afford to keep up with the Jones because that wealth gap wasn't that wide. But today, if we're trying to maintain the same lifestyle, that can really bankrupt us. Here's a new rule for you. Not just below your means, but aggressively below. So if you earn 8,000 ringgit a month, try to live like you earn 5,000 ringgit. If you earn like 12,000 ringgit, live like you earn 8,000 ringgit. The gap there, it's where your wealth building money is going to come from. Even a simple rule of thumb, aim to save at least 30% of your income. And this is something that I had to learn from the hard way. I remember when I went broke at 31 years old and I had to start my business all over again. I had to redefine how success looked like. For me today, success is not about the car that I drive, it's the investment that I'm building. Success today is not about the house that I'm living in, it's the financial freedom that I am creating. Success today for me isn't about impressing people with my lifestyle, but it's about having options when life hits me. Success today is not about giving my kid everything. It's about teaching them to earn what they want. In my life, I've seen too many people driving a BMW, a few 100,000 ringgit car, while having zero in their bank account and can't even afford to buy their friends a lunch. That's what I call financial drama. So, how do we overcome all this? As I mentioned earlier, the playbook from our parents is not working anymore. Our parents put money in fixed deposit, they bought a house, then they retire comfortably. That era is over. And I call that era passive investing. Today, passive investing is not enough. In the past, you can just buy some EPF, some unit trust, maybe ASB, and you're fine. But with real inflation running at more than 20% higher than official number, earning a passive income of 5 to 7% return may not cut it anymore. And if your money grows by 6%, but your real cost of living increased by 15%, you're actually losing 9% every year in terms of purchasing power. I say you have to take an active investment approach. So first, learn to invest in the stock market. Learn to pick individual stocks or at least sector ETF. Tech stocks, healthcare, company that can raise prices with inflation. These days, just buy an index fund and forget about it. In my opinion, it's okay, but you are just merely beating inflation a bit. Then explore cryptocurrency as well. I know, many people are saying that this is very risky and very volatile, but I would encourage you to understand about it. Then, when you're convinced, allocate a small allocation into established cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or others that you feel more confident in. Just make sure you don't gamble and can provide the growth you need to stay ahead of currency debasement. And by investing in these two assets, generally you will also have international exposure because these assets are generally denominated in USD. So even when ringgit weakens, these assets will protect your purchasing power. By the way, if you want us to do a series about how to pick the right stock, comment investment in the comment section below. Here are some practical steps that you can go back and do to improve your finances. Number one, start tracking your actual expenses. Observe where every dollar goes. Guess what? We are building a tool to help you track your expenses. If you are interested about it, do click the link below and we will sign you up as a beta tester of our tool. Number two, question every must-have expenses, especially those kid-related ones. Then have a discussion with your partner to see what's really needed and what's not. Number three, open an investment account if you do not have one. So if you do not have a stock brokerage account yet, you can choose either Moomoo or Webull in the link below. And if you're thinking about investing in crypto, well, use our Luno link to open an account. And next, this is what you need to do this month after watching this video. First, set up an automated investing. Now, even if just 100 ringgit, 200 ringgit or 300 ringgit a month, it is a start. Number two, have an honest conversation with your family about priorities because especially when it comes to kids' expenses and lifestyle, it can be quite touchy. Then learn about stocks and research about it. Choose 3 to 5 individual stocks or even ETF in different sectors to invest in. That's the start of your investment journey. Then within this year, aim to save at least 30% of your income every month. Cannot at least 20 lah. For those of you who are parents, teach your kids about money. Involve them in age-appropriate financial decisions. And last but not least, I would suggest you to redefine your lifestyle. Focus on building wealth instead of looking wealthy. Everything that I've just said may have gone against what we were taught about success, home ownership, and being a good parent. But in today's age, all these old rules can keep us broke because the system has changed and most people are still playing by their parents' playbook. So your parents could work a steady job, save in fixed deposit, buy a house, spoil the kids, and then retire comfortably. But that world doesn't exist anymore. Once you understand what's really happening and you're willing to redefine success, you can build wealth even in this challenging environment. And you can raise kids who actually prepare for the real world. So drop a comment below and let me know what you think. If this video has challenged how you think about money, success, and parenting, share with someone who needs to hear this.